Hi, I'm Tommy Cunningham, and I'm here with Eric Bassett, and we're going to talk a little bit about stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination today. So I'll start it off by asking, in your words, what is a stereotype?
Well, first, I'd like to say thanks, Tommy, for having me on the show. I'd say a stereotype is a way of categorizing people into groups, like through characteristics and qualities, whether they're true or untrue.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes I feel like most stereotypes are typically untrue, but um, are there any stereotypes that you might hear around campus here at St. Joe's?
I think there are a lot of stereotypes that people think around this campus. Like sometimes you'll hear that sorority girls are ditzy or cliquey, or that athletes are dumb. But I try not to judge people on like stereotypes like that because most of the time, like you said, they aren't true.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot also. I'm a baseball player and I try not to listen to them when they say that me and all my teammates are just a bunch of dummies. But stereotypes can be positive, negative, or neutral. Can you think of any positive stereotypes?
I think there are a few positive stereotypes out there, but the first one that comes to mind is like that all Asian people are smart. And that's not a bad stereotype, of course, because it's saying you're smart, but that's not true for all Asians.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind having everyone think I'm smart as well, but we learned about confirmation bias in class this year also, and that can be prejudice consistent or prejudice inconsistent. Can you explain what these two mean and maybe give a specific example of each?
Consistent prejudice is basically when you meet a person who agrees with your prejudice view. Like, for example, when a person has a prejudice that all athletes are unintelligent, when this person meets an athlete who is unintelligent, that event will support and bolster that stereotype. But on the other hand, a prejudice inconsistent is when you meet a person who defies your stereotype belief. Oftentimes, this will have a little effect on your stereotype, and you will assume that they are just an exception to the rule. People tend to notice more like when you agree to a stereotype, but when you're not agreeing with the stereotype, you just kind of brush it off your shoulder.
I never understood that also. When you meet somebody that goes against a stereotype that you might have, I don't understand why that wouldn't have more of an effect on you and make you realize that maybe you're being a little short-sighted. And
Yeah, exactly.
But going on to prejudice. Prejudice is defined as negative feelings towards persons based on their membership in a certain group. Can you think of any events in history or anything that we learned in class that were based on prejudice or discrimination?
The first one that comes to mind, which is probably one of the most well-known ones, is the Holocaust, where millions of Jews were killed simply for their religious views. Like, I don't know why that happens, but it's crazy how people think nowadays.
Yeah, the Holocaust was a serious thing that had to deal with discrimination and prejudice, and it was really detrimental to our world, really. And another famous case that I know we talked about in this semester was the killing of the Tutsi people by the Hutus in Rwanda in 1994. In your own opinion, was the killing warranted?
I would definitely say no to that. The Hutus and Tutsis lived with each other for years with no problems at all until the Hutu government stepped in and basically forced the Hutu people to kill the Tutsis. In many cases, the two groups were neighbors and even friends, but it was basically like a killed or be killed. So if they didn't kill their neighbors, then they would just be killed by the government.
Yeah, that is going on to a different topic actually, but I guess the Hutus were basically forced to conform to the ruling of their government, and they were put in a pretty difficult spot. But I know stereotypes can sometimes be offensive and hurtful to people. So my question for you is, do you think there is anything we can do to help put an end to stereotypes or prejudiced views?
I think it's very difficult to have an immediate change on people because you can't change how people think. But I think the best way is just by educating people of the effects and consequences of these acts. Maybe at some point in the future we will see a change, but I don't see any immediate change.
All right, that's all we have for today. Thank you to Eric Bassett for being here with me, and thank you to all of you for being here listening.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right.